What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cleveland Browns Report. Hopefully you enjoyed their bye week. I know I did not, as I came back without a voice. So unfortunately, I'm just not at 100% today. But show goes on because we have the 49ers coming to town this upcoming Sunday and a lot of important injury news and notes to hit on. So let's get right into it, starting with Deshaun Watson. He was not seen on the practice field during the open portion of practice today to the media. He was working inside with the trainers. Kevin Stefanski calls him day-to-day, which is interesting because he was not day-to-day last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, going into the Ravens game. So honestly, not ideal, right? Coming out of the bye, you'd like to see Watson be really limited at least or ready to roll. Unfortunately, comes back from the bye, unable to practice. Stefanski said nothing is torn or separated, and structurally everything is fine. In case you're wondering, between Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker, DTR was the backup quarterback, or in today's case, the starting quarterback, with Watson out for practice. Now, Kevin Stefanski from Mary Kay said, declined a chance to say he's optimistic that Deshaun Watson will face the 49ers on Sunday. He's day-to-day, working hard, getting better. We know Stefanski is always pretty tight-lipped when it comes to injury news, and after kind of, I wouldn't say running his mouth, but maybe saying more than he probably wished he had last time he spoke to the media, this time he comes in with a big iron curtain of he's day-to-day, he's working his tail off, he's doing everything he can around the clock, yada, 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 and we're not going to get any real updates until we get closer to Sunday. Now, the good news is Adam Schefter, on the other hand, he thinks Deshaun Watson's going to be ready to roll on Sunday. On the Pat McAfee show, Schefter said, I'd be surprised if Deshaun Watson doesn't play for the Cleveland Browns this week. So fingers crossed that Watson will be ready to roll on Sunday against the Niners. It's only Monday, but listen, I would be lying if I said I wasn't decently concerned about his status for Sunday, right? The bye came at a perfect time for Deshaun Watson, missed the game with a shoulder injury. They're only calling it a bruised shoulder. I don't know what it's like to get hit by an NFL defensive end. I'm sure it does not feel very good, but I could imagine it might take a little bit more time than we all want. And with the 49ers coming up next, it's going to be a tough matchup already. Now, let me know, what's your concern level over Deshaun Watson? Scale it 1 to 10 for me down below in the comment section. I don't know how you could be below a 3 right now or even a 4 after he missed last game. For me, I'll put myself at an even 7. I always give myself a decimal point, but I'm not joking around this time. I am right there at a 7 out of 10 when it comes to concern level over Deshaun Watson. Nothing seems too long-term, but this is already a tough season for the Browns, dealing with no Nick Chubb and a, not impossible, but not an gimmicky FCS schedule. You're going to play 6 games in your division. It's looking like one of the tougher divisions in the NFL. So I'm at a 7 right now. The Browns need to get Watson back to full health if they want any shot against the 49ers, because the 49ers, I don't know if you guys caught Sunday Night Football yesterday, they are the best team in football. I have no reservations about that. They are the number 1 team in the NFL right now, and I don't know what's even better, their offense or their defense. I mean, their defense is first in points allowed, so one would think this is a no-brainer. They are carried by their defense. Brock Purdy, he is on a campaign to win the MVP award. Christian McCaffrey is looking like the best running back in the NFL. Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, maybe the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver. I mean, I guess Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but right now, Ayuk and Samuel are outplaying those two guys. And then George Kittle, when he was having a bit of a slow year, he put up a hat trick yesterday. So the 49ers offensively, and as you can see, defensively, are the number 1 team in the NFL. This is loser talk coming in. And I hate myself for doing this, but I'm going to be the one that says it out loud that no one wants to do. The Browns may get smacked, even with a healthy Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, even with Deshaun Watson, if there's no shoulder injury whatsoever, look what they just did to the Dallas Cowboys. Sure, it's different. Browns coming off a bye. It's a road game, kind of a cross-country trip for the 49ers. But still, they went into Pittsburgh, beat up the Steelers, chewed them up and spit them out. Everywhere they have gone this year, they have demolished their opponent. So if Watson is only 75, 80%, I don't know, might be wise to just sit him the week, right? Give him the Ravens game, the bye week, and the 49ers game, 3 weeks off. Because even if he is healthy, again, if he's healthy, I know you really got to play him. But part of me thinks if he's not 100%, might not be a bad idea to not have him go out there and play against Bosa, Hargrave, Warner, and the rest of that awesome 49ers defense. Give him 3 weeks off, and hopefully he is ready to roll down the stretch for some big road games coming up after this Niners game. Now, today's Cleveland Browns report is sponsored by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. If you're trying to catch an upcoming Browns game or you want to see a concert or another sporting event in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. What I love about Game Time specifically is the ability to get last-minute tickets for the lowest price. There's nothing better than a spur-of-the-moment boys trip to a game, and with Game Time, you can do that without breaking the bank. What I also love is you can actually get a good view of what your seats will be before you buy your tickets. There is nothing worse than being the guy outside a stadium, scalping for tickets, and then before you know it, you're looking at the Cleveland Browns stadium seating chart, trying to figure out where the heck am I sitting. Now, with Game Time, you actually have a great idea of what your view will be before you even purchase tickets. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. It's the right place to find. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem the code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Moving on to some other injury news. Myles Garrett was at practice today. Remember, last time we saw him, he was leaving the stadium in a boot. Looks like all good signs coming from Garrett. I mean, after the game, he said he was going to be ready after the bye. I remember Anthony Walker speaking in the media saying, you guys can worry about Myles Garrett. None of us in the locker room worry about Myles Garrett. He's going to be ready to roll. So it looks like Garrett is progressing well, and he should be ready to roll for this upcoming Sunday's game. Some other notable injury news, though. David Njoku did not practice today as he still recovers from that scary burn incident to his hands and face. Center Ethan Posick with a knee. Haven't seen him, unfortunately. And then Joel Petonio, unknown. Kevin Stefanski did not shed any light on that, but Joel Petonio just did not practice. I don't know if it was a veteran rest day. They say he's working through something. Who knows what that really means, but hopefully he's ready to roll Sunday. Now, speaking of Sunday, the Browns uniforms against the 49ers in Week 6. They're bringing back the icy white helmets and the all-white uniforms. It didn't work Week 2 against the Steelers, so I'm just going to say it right now. If Week 6 is an absolute whomping, we retire these uniforms. That sounds like a good idea to everyone. After the Steelers game, and if the 49ers game does not go well, no one's going to want to see those uniforms come back on the field again. So I think they picked out 3 games this year. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But regardless, if the 49ers game does not go well, these uniforms, these helmets, they're done. Now, before we get on to the rest of the show, talking trades for a little bit here, help us reach 25,000 subscribers before our Week 6 watch party. We are 462 subs away, so let's just start chipping away at it. I like to view subscribers as like when you bet the over and it's not looking good in the first quarter, but the second quarter comes around, you're like, okay, that's a touchdown, that's some points, that's a field goal. We get a score right before the half. We're right back in this thing, baby. Let's get us to 25,000 subscribers. Join the channel today. Jonathan Taylor is off the market. So as we all saw over the weekend, the Indianapolis Colts and Jonathan Taylor agreed to a 3-year, $42 million contract extension with 26.5 of it guaranteed. So I kind of look at that, honestly, as a 2-year, $26.5 million contract. I'm sure the Colts could get out of it in year 3 with very little dead money. Now, what's an interesting little nugget here is JT is the first running back since Nick Chubb to get a big $10+ million average year contract since 2021, and now he finds himself third in the highest paid running backs on average per year, just behind Alvin Kamara and just ahead of Derrick Henry. So Jonathan Taylor did not reset the market like a lot of people thought he might or he wanted to or he could. Instead, he finds himself in the bronze position in terms of all running backs being paid. Now, there are some other running back trade targets out there the Browns could have on their radar with JT no longer in the mix. Derrick Henry is one interesting idea. Michael Carter for the Jets. Breece Hall is awesome. I think they're about to give Breece Hall every single touch this entire season moving forward, so that could make Michael Carter available with Dalvin Cook as the backup. Josh Jacobs is an interesting one. We'll talk about him more in a moment. Zach Moss, I only tossed him on there because with Jonathan Taylor coming back, maybe the Colts, if they start losing going into the deadline, they try and get something for Moss, who's having a phenomenal season, by the way. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the Chiefs would be very happy if anyone gave him a phone call for CEH. Samaje Perine from the Broncos, as Denver continues to lose, those players reportedly are going to be available for a trade. Elijah Mitchell, they've got a lot of good backs in the 49ers backfield. I feel like they're always down for a trade. And then Raheem Mostert with Devin Achane. I know he recently changed the pronunciation. With him balling out right now, maybe Raheem Mostert could be available for a trade. Now, the two biggest names on that list, though, of course, are Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. Neither player is really off to that great of a start. We know Derrick Henry tends to heat up in the second half of the season, right? He keeps going at the same level, but the defense isn't playing as hard in week 13 as they are in week 1 and week 2. So Derrick Henry, you could be buying in at the right time at the trade deadline. As for Josh Jacobs, I'm just not interested in him whatsoever. Like, Josh Jacobs won the NFL rushing title last year, and I did not feel like he was one of the better running backs in football anyway. So if I had to pick one of the guys we looked at, sure, Derrick Henry is really enticing and whatnot, but in terms of someone that actually could be available for a trade, what about Samaje Perine? So Samaje Perine in Denver right now, he is behind Javonte Williams, who was injured this past game, and when he was out, their UDFA backup running back, Jaleel McLaughlin, he balled out. So right now, Perine could find himself as RB3, and he's got a good receiving ability to his game, and he can also run well between the tackles. I don't think Cleveland's going to go out there and find a new true RB1. I think they just try to Band-Aid themselves the rest of the season and try add a three-headed monster type backfield with Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, and Samaje Perine. Derrick Henry would be awesome, no doubt about it. I just don't know if the Titans are really going to be interested in moving on from the greatest player in their franchise history, arguably, whereas Perine in Denver, this feels a lot more attainable. But be Andrew Berry for a moment here. Should the Browns trade for a running back? Yes or no? Be honest with me in the comment section. Do you think the Browns need to go out and make a move at RB? That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much, by the way, for tuning in and putting up with Trace, how long has this video been now? 12 and a half minutes of whatever this awful sound is. So really appreciate you and your ears for putting up with me for that long.